Tanny Games here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I thought I would go over Farm Together 2. So the first Farm Together game is a game that I've played for a long time. I have 400 hours in it, so quite a substantial amount of time, I would say. And Farm Together 2 has finally released in early access. So I thought maybe we go over it, maybe I talk about it a little bit. You can see what the game's about and you can let me know whether you think this is interesting or not. Now, as I mentioned, this is released in early access, so I do feel like there's a lot of features missing from the game, and there's a lot of things that aren't in the game that I think will come in time, but they're not here yet. But as I said, that's probably partially down to the fact that it is in early access, so I'm sure the developers are going to add a lot more to the game and things like that. The first game did have a lot of DLCs, so again, that's probably something that Farm Together 2 will have as well. So why don't I go over a couple of things. So when you first load up the game, we do have a customized menu where you can customize your character, change how they look and appearance. Now, you do only get a few things to begin with, a few hairstyles and things like that, but as you level up, you will unlock more things and more ways to kind of like customize your character. There are also variants of some of these outfits as well, which I think is kind of cute. Obviously, I haven't unlocked all the variants as it seems. But yeah, you get a few basic outfits, and I'm sure as they introduce events, because a big thing with the first Farm Together game is that they did have events, so I fully anticipate that the this game will have events too. There's a few emotes that you can use for talking to people, which is kind of good, especially if you, although there is a chat feature in this game, if you did just want to use emotes for communicating, that's kind of easily done. And we do have a tractor here that we can customize as well. You do get to put a little license plate, so I've just put tan there as well. So you can change the colors, you can change like the patterns and things like that. So there's quite a few customization options. And then when it comes to your farm, there's a lot of customization options for that. So I'm just going to show you my farm here. So at the moment, my visibility is online and it's private. So this means only my friends can find and join the farm. If you set it to online public, then it will show up in a global list, which means anyone from around the world can come and play on your farm. Now, when you have people come on your farm, you can set permissions for things they can do. So depending on whether you want to give them flexibility to do a lot of things or not, you can set it up as you want. So for guest permissions here, I have it set to harvest only. You could set it so that they can harvest and do quests. You can set it so they can harvest, do quests and plant. Now the important thing to point out is if they do plant, this will take from your money. So people could end up planting things that you don't want planted. So be careful if you use that. Then we have none, which means people can visit, but they can't do anything. We have custom, and this way you could set it exactly as you want. And then we're back to harvest only, where they can only harvest. Now I have my friend permissions on full at the moment because it didn't bother me. I just had my friend join the game. Our lovely mod in Discord, Hina, she came, we had a bit of a hangout. We did used to hang out and do a lot of event stuff with the first Farm Together game, so I think that's quite good. But for the moment, I'm going to go offline so that no one can join the farm. This means you won't show up in any lists, so you can't have people randomly show up. And I have named my farm Lunar Falls. It was created on the 7th. So I've only had this game for 5 days, but I have just under 10 hours in it, so not a lot. And then we've got our money and things like that here. So why don't we just go play, and I can sort of show you a bit more in terms of the mechanics of the game. So when you first start out in the game, you will spawn on a bus stop location, and then you will have one little farm plot around you. Now, I have bought other farm plots, so my farm has grown a bit in size. But yeah, you'll get a little farm plot. I had some chickens on mine and some other little harvestable vegetables and things like that. So what you can do, you can either manually run around and harvest things, which I think when you first join the game, that's all you can do. And then you gain access to the tractor, which will make it easier to harvest, whether it's harvesting crops or like eggs from the chickens. It will make it so much more faster, but the fuel does run down quite quickly. So here I've got my chickens and I'm just harvesting those. We've got some more chickens here, and then I also have my little piggies here. We also have some fruit trees here, which I had. As I've opened up the game, I have got more fruit trees, and there are a couple that I have bought, which we'll go over to those in a moment. But all these trees here are just ones that came with the farm plots that I have unlocked. Now here we have my little tree grove, whatever you want to call it, for trees that I have planted myself. So as you see in this menu here, we do have a selection of trees that I can purchase. We do also have some more grayed out options down here. Now, as you progress through the game, the more you harvest certain trees, the more you level up that thing, and the more other trees you can unlock, if that makes sense. So here we go. Here we have something crossed out here. It's grayed out. Does look to be some sort of citrus tree. But in order for me to unlock this, I need to level up my lemon skill and my pear tree skill to 15 and 10, which you can see on the right side of the screen. So at the moment, this technically can be unlocked. I just need to work on leveling up the harvesting levels of those two trees. These ones down here that have a number and a star against them, so we've got 30, 31, 32, 35, these will unlock as I reach that level. Now, as I reach that level, there may be hidden objectives that I also need, such as this tree, which requires more bananas to level up. This one requires peach trees leveled up, and this one requires lemon trees and a hidden other tree to be level 15. Now, my thoughts are, based on this looking quite citrusy, it's either this one to the left or it's the first one. Not too sure, but that can help guide you in terms of what you kind of want to place on your farm, what you want to focus on harvesting. For instance, I can see that I need lemon and pears leveled up here, so I might plant a few more lemon trees and pear trees so that these can get leveled up faster, and then I can unlock this new tree. The same applies for the animals, so you start off with these leghorn chickens, and as you level them up, you can unlock other ones such as the New Hampshire and the Australorp chicken. There is one here, which I need to get my Hampshire chickens up to level 10. Very close to doing, so soon I should have that unlocked. Then when I reach level 30, I should be able to gain access to this new pig. Now, in terms of the animals, it does look like we've only got chicken and pigs here. In the other game, there were a multitude of different animals. We had cows, there were deers, there was ostriches, there were griffins, there was llamas, goats, there was so much more. So I do feel like this is something that will be expanded upon when the game does release later down the line, fully out of early access. We also can get fish, which again work on the same principle of leveling up. We also have our crops here, which again work on that same process of leveling up. I'm not going to repeat it for all the different things, just sort of getting the gist now, I should think. And then we have the same for flowers as well. Now, what we also have access to in Farm Together is buildings. We are very limited here. We seem to have one type of farm building, which is the rustic house. We do have a feeder which seems to increase the food capacity of an adjacent field, animal field. So I think this might be good later down the line for when I get larger fields of animals, of like pigs and chickens. We have this windmill which slowly over time gives you 5 diamonds. We also have some fuel depots which will give you fuel back for your tractor. We have a quick travel post which you can place down across your farm. So as it expands, you will probably want to place these down so it's a lot quicker from getting A to B. We have the sprinklers which help keep things watered. These are going to be very, very good for flower fields because the more watered a flower is, the more reward you get from harvesting. And then we also have a well, which just provides you with 25 coins. I don't think this is particularly special, to be honest. It is handy in the very, very early game when you're working with minimal money. But for the most part, this is not something I interact with much. We then also have decorations which cost diamonds, so you can decorate your farm with buildings, with decor. We've got this cute little scarecrow here, and then we also have a guest book. Now I'm pointing out the guest book here because the guest book is what your friends can sign when they come and visit your farm. They are limited by certain sentences. I guess that's what helps keep things moderated and safe. So they are generic sentences, but it's nice to see who comes visit and people can sign it. We do also have fences here. I must admit, looking at this, it looks like we've got a very, very good range of fences in the game. I am very excited to potentially decorate with these. We do also have paths, which are very good. The reason why I'll point out paths is because paths actually speed you up. So when you're going from A to B, if you're running somewhere, say you're running across one of your fields, this is a great little thing to have set up. And then we also have some sort of terraforming options here. So it looks like we can create some hills. It looks like we can, create larger hills, basically. I'm assuming we can flatten things out as well. But yeah, we've also got different textures here. So we can do grass, water, sand, a flower bed, and some mud, things like that. So I think this is going to be very fun to play with to create your farm that looks really unique to you. You can set it up exactly how you want it. I don't know if it will be like the first farm together, but if it is, there were seasonal events like winter events, summer events, so I could imagine using the sand terrain and the water terrain to create like almost like a beach vibe setup and things like that. I think that would be a lot of fun. So that's the main things in the menu there. Let me go harvest my pigs here as well. What is cute, when it gets to nighttime, the piggies actually start to sleep. Same with the chickens and everything like that. I think that's such a cute little feature. We also have our flowers here, which I keep messed up at the moment. I do plan to make a proper flower field with these organized into set locations and things like that, but at the moment it's not my priority. I was working on improving my field layouts and stuff like that, so we'll come to that in a moment actually once I finished harvesting those. Okay, see, here's a tree that needs harvesting. We can harvest that. Okay, so this is my big main field that I've recently started. You'll see there's a bunch of gaps because I did run out of money last night because some of these crops are quite costly. So we do have quite a bit laid out. Some of these crops I've chosen are for money and some of them are for quests. So if I go into my menu here and go into this quest log, you will see there's certain tasks you can do which give rewards. So this task at the moment requires me to have harvested 10 New Hampshire chickens. We need to harvest 20 tomatoes and we needed to have harvested 40 corn. Now I've done the chicken and the corn, but I hadn't done the tomatoes yet. So I did plant 36 tomatoes so that I could get this reward done. And when it's done, I will be rewarded with 2 ribbons and 30 XP. For this one, I need to harvest 50 lentil and 70 wheat. and I'll get 6 ribbons and 125 XP. And then this one requires 60 melons and 50 lentils, and I'll get 4 ribbons and 105. Now, the reason why there's a bit of a jump between the different reward levels there is because some of it's down to the cost of these items. So if I come here into crops, you'll see, for instance, the watermelon costs 720 coins, whereas something like wheat costs 250, or even cheaper, the lettuce only costs 15, and it takes a short time to harvest. So all these timers by the vegetables here and the fruits, this is how long it takes for the fruit, for the crop to grow, and for you to then be allowed to harvest it. I do want to plant some grapes at some point because I have not planted any of those yet, and I am very curious about those. But yeah, you can see our different crops here. Now, some of these crops are grayed out, but we can see what they are. Now, that's because it's not the right season to plant them. So you'll see in the top right hand corner of the screen, there is a little sun. This is because it represents the season of summer. When it's autumn, we get this brown leaf. When it's winter, we get the little ice cube. And when it's spring, we get this little shamrock clover thing, whatever they're called. They're like 4-leaf clovers. Are they called shamrocks as well? Is shamrock something different? Apologies if I'm wrong there. I know I definitely am. But there's some link between them. I don't know how best to call it. But yeah, like a 4-leaf clover. And that represents the spring. So you can only plant these within their dedicated seasons. So we will only be able to plant some more tomatoes in the autumn. And then after that in the winter, we can't plant again. But then we can plant again in the spring. Now, luckily, you can harvest whenever, so long as the crop is grown. It doesn't matter what season it's in. So here we go. I can just harvest these. We'll get this quest done. There we go, that quest is done, and now we have a new quest which requires us to harvest pear trees and also red peppers. So for now, I would plant some red peppers, but unfortunately, it just finished the season. So we're gonna have to wait till spring before we can even start on that quest. So this game plays out in not a real time, a bit like real time, I guess you could say. Each season, so spring, summer, winter, and spring, summer, winter, and autumn. I don't even know how to say my seasons there. They last 17 minutes. So as 17 minutes passes, you will transition into a new season. But these crops, the time it takes, so when it says 1 hour, it means 1 real life hour. So this is almost in a way a bit like an idle game, because you literally can just leave it running in the background, come and check on it every so often, depending on what crops you've grown. Typically, before I log off for a night, I usually try and make it so the crops I've planted are either quest crops, or they're crops that take a long time to grow. And then when I'm actively playing the game, I try and make it so that I'm planting shorter time span crops. So crops that I can harvest within like 20 to 30 minutes. That way I'm more active when playing and more actively getting that money. So items like, for instance, the watermelons and stuff like that are great for planting when you're away from the game for a longer period. Same with like things like pumpkins. So pumpkins cost 950, but the yield back is 1,433. So you are making sort of like a 400 profit there. So it's very worthwhile. Whereas when you're planting lettuce, for instance, they cost 15, but you only get 37 back. So, you know, you're only getting like 20 profit there, if that. So you've got to weigh it out as to what's going to be most beneficial depending on your play style, how much time you can dedicate to it, and things like that. Now, as you might have seen, as I harvested these watermelons, it does come up and say full. Now, you may be asking, what does that mean? Well, not only do you earn money from just harvesting the crops, so when I harvest these, we get 908 back. We also got some XP and things like that. But we also have a town mechanic. Now, in the first Farm Together game, you used to plant or put buildings on your farm where you can sort of sell the crops that you've harvested. So you would earn the money for the crops, but then you'd have a stash of, say, 50 apples, and then you could also sell them for other currencies. So on the top right hand corner of the screen, you'll see I've got coins, diamonds, and ribbons. Now, the diamonds are used for buying the decor items, so that's what's going to make your farm look pretty and things like that. The ribbons can go to other things, so I'm going to get into that when I get into the town. And then the coin is basically used for buying your crops and things like that. So that's what's going to circulate with you money-wise. Now, let's go to the town. If we press M, we bring up our map, which you can see the outline of your farm here. For instance, you can see where all your crops are and things like that. But let's travel to town and talk about the town mechanic. So here we are in the town. And when you first come into the town, I'll come over here to this building that's got nothing on it. You'll see lots of buildings here with almost like for sale signs. And you might be wondering, well, what is that for? Why do you have those? Well, these buildings are actually going to be buildings that are really important to us for earning various different kinds of currency and things like that. Now, I've just recently unlocked this wardrobe shop, so we are going to buy this. Now, it's going to cost us 10 ribbons. Most of these shops had a cost of ribbons or coins to buy. So here we can see the vegetable shop actually only costed 1,000 coins. The fruit stand cost 25 gems. The fish stand was 35, the bakery 50, the grocery store 60, the flower shop 80. We have the candy shop, which was 100. The mushroom stand was 120. The garage was 1 ribbon. And the warehouse was 5. Now, the warehouse increases your inventory capacity. The garage has features that basically improve how much fuel you can get and things like that. Mushrooms, you go to the stand and you can sell mushroom related items. The candy shop, you can sell sort of like sweet items, so jams, honeys, things like that. At the moment, I haven't seen a way to produce jams or honeys in game, but obviously they are listed, so I know that's something that will come. The flower shop, you will trade your flowers for gems. The grocery store, you can trade things like milk, eggs. Tomatoes apparently comes under this, and cheeses. We have the bakery, which is your wheat, your nuts, your jams, not your jams, your grapes and things like that, like your fruits that way. The fish stand is trading different types of fish. The fruit stand, now this is your fruit, so this is your pears, lemons, things like that. You have your vegetable shop, so your lettuces, your spices and things like that. And then this wardrobe shop, I'm intrigued about. I don't actually know what it does. It says you can change your outfit, so we're going to buy it. But I'm not entirely sure whether this will let me buy more outfits. Okay, so it does. So instantly from getting this, we've unlocked some other options. It looks like we've only unlocked like color variants though or something from this shop. That's at least the way it seems. Yeah, looking at this, I think it's mainly just color no, this is all stuff that I already own. Okay, interesting. Also, you can give yourself some nice facial hair if you want. You can give yourself some glasses. There are earrings and accessories. It looks like it's just marked all these up as like new when they're not. So let's come back out of there. So the shop is actually a little bit more disappointed than I thought, because you can literally just go into the menu to change your outfit, but maybe this is a cute way of doing it. It would have been nice if it unlocked more clothing. I really thought that's what it was going to do then, but apparently not. So why don't we come to this shop? This is our garage. So if we upgrade this shop, it does cost 4 ribbons and 40 fruit. We can see over to the left hand side, we've got our inventory there. So we can see we've got enough in terms of fruit, but we don't have enough ribbons. Now, if we did increase it, our capacity would go up from 350 to 375, and the restock would go from 140% to 150. If we come around here, we've got our veg shop. Now here we can trade vegetables for diamonds. Now if I press the control button and things like that, or you can just click on it, it does increase the amount of vegetables that you would sell and how many diamonds you... Well, it doesn't really increase the amount of diamonds you get back. You get the same like worth back, but it just means that rather than doing it in multiple small transactions, you can do just one larger. So I can get rid of 50 of my lettuce here and get 25 diamonds for it. We can do the same with these kind of like chili spices. Now, the thing that happens is the merchants do run out of money. It does restock. So here it says restock in 9 seconds. And in that time, we will see this go up from 5 to 10. There we go. So that's 10. So now we could sell, for instance, 20 of these lettuces and get them. Now you see everything's read out, even though we've got plenty in our inventory. The reason we can't make these trades is because the merchant doesn't have any money. So we have to wait for him to restock. Here we are at the fruit, and we can do the same with these melons and stuff like that. So we've sold a bunch of those, which has really helped us get this number down. But he's run out of money, so we're going to have to wait for him to restock. And then we can sell some more. So why don't we get rid of some of the lemons there. We have our flower shop here. So we could get rid of some of these. I'll get rid of some of these flowers, the red ones, because we seem to have quite an abundance of those. We also have up here, this is the candy shop. Now, because I'm not really producing any of this at the moment, I don't ever tend to sell here. And the mushroom stand, I do sometimes come here because we do get them from the pigs. But at the moment, we're not making a substantial enough to kind of warrant coming here regularly. You do generally want to keep a little bit of stock because you might need it for upgrades and things like that. We've got our eggs here. It works on the same principle where you can sell. The merchant has their money too. We also have the fish one here, so we can get rid of some of our fish. And then round here, this is our bakery option, so we can get rid of some of this wheat that we've got. So that's our shops. Now it does look like with the amount of buildings there are, there's going to be many more buildings to come with the game coming out of early access. I'm not entirely sure when that is. I do want to look into that. I might see if I can find out some information and put it on the screen. But if you don't see anything on the screen, it means I either forgot to look or I couldn't find any information. So yeah, but it does look like there's plans for more buildings to potentially come. Now, the other thing you can do in the town is talk with some of these people. So you see this person here has an exclamation point on his head. I can talk to him and he's going to set me a task. So he says, I need a good source of protein to climb the highest mountains. I think legumes are an excellent choice for that. Can you get me a few? And down here it says 5 legumes, and then there's like this transactional arrow, which then points to 1800 gold coins. So I would give up 5 of my legumes from my inventory, and he's going to give me 1800 coins. So you can press OK and you accept that, and that's the task done. This is why sometimes you don't want to get rid of all your resources. Now Charles is asking for something. He wants apples, so we will certainly do that trade. It's easily done. You can also, whilst you're on the map in the town, have a look and you can see where the people with the arrows are for the quests. That'll make it easier for trying to find out where they are so that you can get these quests done. So we'll come up here and we'll speak to this lady if we can. Okay, so she's looking for fruit. She wants a melon, and she's actually going to give us diamonds this time. So it's always worthwhile looking, because sometimes they will give you different rewards. There are some people who will also give you ribbons, but it's very rare. It's not very often. Now let's see what this last person wants. This person wants ingredients for an omelette. So they are asking for more things, but they're different items. So we're only giving up 1 wheat, 1 egg, and 1 veg, but that's going to give us 36 diamonds. So we'll do that since we can, and she's going to make her sandwich and everything's going to be good. So there are almost like little missions, little tasks that you can also do in the town. Now, when you want to go back home, you can press the map key and click on travel to farm, or you can actually interact with the bus stop, and that will bring up the map and you can also travel that way. So here we are back on our farm. The next thing that I can probably introduce to you and just show you around. So we do have our fish ponds here. Now, one thing that I have learned from playing the game, you don't want to make your fish ponds too large. Apparently, there is a negative impact on the amount of fish you would get back return-wise. So, for instance, I'm going to fish this clownfish. I got 6 clownfish back. With no detriment, but apparently it seems like if you make your fish ponds quite big, the numbers here, the rewards are less, so it doesn't properly stack. It's like there's a punishment for having a large pond. Now, I don't recall that being a thing in the first game, so I'm not entirely sure why that is, why they've made that change, or if that's something that will stick around. We'll just have to wait and see, I think. But these are our fishes. I will set them into nicer ponds eventually. Now, if we come up here, I want to show you this, because I unlocked this patch of farm shortly after getting the game. And this is actually textured with snow. So this is one of the texture details that you can have. Later on down the line, you can sort of like terraform your farm and make it how you want. And likewise, I'll come up here and show you this. I've not opened this, but it looks like we've got this sandy, deserty landscape here. So again, if you want to make kind of like biome areas in your farm, I think this is going to be such a fun way to do it. Now, you'll see some of my things are spaced out. It's because some of these are just naturally where the crops were when I unlocked these areas of the farm. I am hoping to get a more like uniform layout stuff together. Like, I want to have a dedicated orchard area. I want to have a dedicated fish area. That's pretty much how I have it in my first one, my farm together save. So it's definitely something I will be looking at doing in this game. So yeah, literally all you have to do is farm in this game. There's quests. I hope I've done a good job of kind of explaining everything. I know it's a lot of information at once. I must admit, what I have played so far has been very, very enjoyable. I have no complaints really for it being in early access. Obviously, if this was fully released, I might have some concerns. It does feel very bare bones at the moment, but I have faith that this game is going to develop quite nicely, just like the first game. So at the moment, especially compared to Farm Together 1, this does feel quite lacking in some areas. Like, it doesn't look like we've got as many crops, as many animals, as many decor items in terms of buildings and stuff like that, but I have faith that that stuff is going to come to the game. So in my opinion, I think this game is looking fantastic. I think it looks very promising. I love this kind of like idle-esque kind of game where there's not a lot of thought, there's not a lot of challenge, there's no story to this game or anything like that. It's just a nice, chill and relaxing game. I certainly feel if you want something that's just going to help you kind of unwind and just kind of like relax with, a game like this, a game like Farm Together 2 or the first Farm Together game is so good. There is a little sort of motivational challenge element in terms of like if you want to unlock all the items, if you want to make the most efficient farm, you can sort of try and calculate maths wise what that is. Now I don't go into that too much because my brain can't handle it, but I just find it quite enjoyable. It's nice, it's a nice slow paced game which I like, and although the seasons change every 17 minutes, which I know some people might feel is a bit rushed, I do feel like because there isn't like a definite like end goal, it's not like Stardew where you have year 1, year 2 and things like that. You can really play this at your own pace and you go, well, if the season passes, that's fine, I'll just wait till the next one, and it's not really a big deal. Now, one thing I haven't spoke about yet is the house. Let me come inside here. Now, you can decorate your home if you want. If I press Q here, you can see there's various things you can decorate your house with. So we have like beds and chairs, we have appliances, we've got storage items, there's decorations here. We do have some lighting elements, some windows, plumbing, so you can make yourself a bathroom. We've got some rugs here. We only seem to have 2 at the moment, so again, something that I am kind of hoping will come in time is that they will add more of these things to the game. We do have some like wallpaper elements. I must admit, this like mushroom wallpaper is so cute, and then we also have some flooring as well, which is quite nice. And at the moment we've only got like 1 door, I guess, but it is what it is. Now, the other thing that I'm going to point out here is jobs. So when I first entered, you probably saw the stove in front of me. It looks like there is the option of a piano. Now, sadly, if I go to put this here, it says this room already has another job assigned. Sadly, it does mean that you need to keep the jobs assigned in different rooms. In the first Farm Together game, you could put as many of these items in one room, which I do prefer because when I run into my house, I want to be able to run in quickly and leave. But this way you actually have to like think about where you're going and what you're doing. And then when you do these jobs, so here we have the piano. It looks like we can play a music piece. So this is Maple Leaf Rag. It has an interval of 5 minutes. It does require 7 diamond spend and 4 like nuts, but in return you get 35 diamonds back, 25 XP, and this 1 music note. Now, I'm not really sure what the music note is meant to provide. I don't know if you heard that, but that was me playing the piano there. I'm not really sure what they do yet, but I'm sure as those features get added to the game, we'll find out. We also have recipes here we can cook. So where it says 3 times 4, 2 times 1 and stuff like that, that basically means stages. So for instance, if I go to cook the carrot cake, it's going to take me 2 stages of 10 minutes. So I will start the first stage, which will take 10 minutes. And then in 10 minutes time, I could come inside and start the second stage, which would take a further 10 minutes. And then it would be complete and I would get my yield of 30 diamonds, 1 cake and 32 XP. So these are different recipes that you can cook. There's like ratatouille, we've got a fried egg, there's the carrot cake and the apple salad. So far I've only cooked an apple salad, so why don't we make some ratatouille for a change? I haven't done that yet. And then we also have in this room, we have an easel, and here we can paint a picture. Now I have painted this lovely grandma portrait before, so why don't we paint a tulip for once? We'll do that and we'll get started on that. So As you can see in the bottom left hand corner, it says 11 minutes and 50 odd seconds. This is how long it's going to take before we reach the next stage and we can activate that. So every so often you might want to check back in your house. Now the house does require things to build and make. Well, look, we unlocked chickpeas. That's new. So if I come in here, it says rustic house. To buy, it's 100 diamonds and 200 XP. Now it says construction stages. So this means that there are 4 stages. So we have to interact with the building 4 times and pay 4 times to get it built. So each stage costs 100 gems and 200 XP, but then it also costs 25 fish, 25 lettuce, 25 veg, and 25 fruit. So all in all, it was 100 fish, 100 lettuce, 100 veg, and 100 fruit, as well as 500 gems. And then I think about 1,000 XP. I'm bad at maths, but I'm pretty sure that's how much it costs. So it does take a bit of time, and each stage takes an hour to complete. So it does take a minimum of 4 hours to build the house effectively. So this is kind of like long game stuff. It's not immediate, so it is long game. So I do recommend, if you want to unlock the house, that you get started working on it sooner so that you can go through those progression stages. Here we've unlocked a few more decor items. A lot of this will happen when you level up your character, when you level up your farm and things like that. So here you can see we've unlocked some medium boulders. We've unlocked a big barn. There does seem to be a sign with an arrow here that you can customize. A little chicken coop. So all this is just for decorating your farm. And then it looks like we've unlocked another fence. But yeah, that's pretty much Farm Together. You'll have to let me know in the comments down below what you think so far of this game. I know I've shown you like the bare minimum. The bare minimum. But hopefully it gives you a bit of an insight into a game that I play, at least definitely with Farm Together 1. I played it quite a lot. Like I said, I've got 400 hours. It's nothing compared to my Disney Dreamlight Valley hours, but it is some hours. So it's quite a bit, which isn't too bad. And I do love doing the events, and I do hope we get the events in Farm Together 2 as well, because I do find them enjoyable to do. So yeah, that's pretty much it. You just farm. So I definitely recommend, if you're after a cozy game and things like that, to definitely look into Farm Together 1 or Farm Together 2. Farm Together 2 I think looks very, very promising. Like I said, it's very bare bones at the moment, but I have faith that eventually we will be in a position where this game is just as good as the first. I just think it needs a little bit of time to get there. But as I said, I have no doubts that it will get there. But yeah, there we have it. That's my farm, I think, fully harvested almost. I'll have to get to plant in some crops and things like that. But let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this. I hope this was informative. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye, guys!